Rocksmith. Learn a song. Lessons. Welcome to Rocksmith. To make... Well then. Alright, now let's choose what kind of parts you want to play. You can scroll through the options to find out a little about each one. Do you plan on playing? Give this one a shot. Awesome. Let's move on. We're gonna bring up a calibration meter here in a second. When you see it, play your strings hard and fast to make some noise. Do that until we tell you to stop. Then cover the strings to mute them. Okay, here goes. Get ready. Now make some noise. Remember, keep strumming harder until you hit the target bar on the calibration meter at the top of the screen. Now, mute the strings. Great job. Okay, now tuning. Let's start with a low E string. That's the one that's thickest and closest to you. It's highlighted red in the game. The tuner tells you if the note's too low or too high. Then you turn the matching tuning peg to adjust it until the needle is right in the middle. If the needle moves the wrong way, turn the other direction. Now, go ahead and get your low E string in tune. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Now let's tune the other strings. The next one down is the A string. It's highlighted in yellow. The next one after that is the D string. It's blue. Now, the G string in orange. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. The next to last string is the B string. It's green. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. And finally, the high E string in purple. All right, sounds great. Now, let's play each string one more time, just to double check that you're good to go. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. Be sure not to hit the other strings when you try. If you're having trouble with anything, or just want to go more in depth, check out the help topics. Okay, let's get this show on the road and play some actual notes. So this is a note. It's yellow, which means the A string. Remember, the A string is the second thickest one. Now it's coming down the second lane, so you're gonna play the second fret. That means you put your finger right here, 2 spaces up. Let's start from the headstock and count the spaces between the metal strips. 1, 2, and that's where your finger goes. When the note gets all the way down to the front of the screen, pick the string to play it. Now, you give it a shot. Press your finger down on the second fret of the A string. When the note reaches the bottom of the screen, play the A string. For now, the note will wait there for you until you play it. Be sure you're on the right fret. Great job! You can also just play the string without pressing anything down. That's called an open note. Check out the horizontal line coming down the screen. That means you play the open string. It's yellow again, so this is an open A. Let's go ahead and play that open A. Like before, we'll wait for you to find the right note. Nice! Now, let's try playing a few notes in a row. A run of notes like this is called a riff. Don't worry if you miss a note. We'll wait for you to find the right one. Sweet. Sounds like you're getting the hang of it. Now you're ready to take on Rocksmith. Welcome to Rocksmith. Let's take a minute to get your strap attached and adjusted just right. Most guitars have 2 metal buttons for connecting your strap. There's usually one at the bottom and one here at the opposite corner. Not all guitars have the strap buttons in these exact locations, so you might have to adjust accordingly. Now, let's attach the strap to the bottom button. If your strap has this thing you slide to adjust the length, you might want to attach the end closest to that thing to the bottom, so it doesn't dig into your shoulder. Then you just attach the other end to the other button. Make sure the strap doesn't fold back over the button or get twisted up. You want the strap to lay flat. The slits in the strap might be a little tight, so it might be tough to squeeze the buttons through at first, especially if the strap's new. Now, just take a minute to adjust the strap. Once it's in a good place, you're ready to rock. To play standing, you'll want a guitar strap attached. The strap goes over your shoulder and around your back, and the guitar just rests against your stomach. It might be tempting to try playing with your guitar hanging extremely low or high, but that can get uncomfortable fast. You want the guitar somewhere between chest and stomach level, with the neck tilted slightly upwards. You might need to adjust the strap to get a good angle. Let the strap do the work. You don't want to be holding the guitar up while you're trying to play. Now, let your forearm rest lightly against the edge of the guitar, and you're ready to play. Of course, everybody's different, so that exact position and angle of the guitar will vary from person to person. If playing feels awkward or hurts, you might want to stop and adjust. Lesson. There's a couple different ways to hold your guitar while you're sitting down. We'll show you how it works for a right-handed player, so if you're playing lefty, you'll need to reverse it. Let the indent on the lower side of the guitar rest on your right leg. It can lean back against your body. You want to balance the guitar without having to support it with your arms, because they're going to be busy playing. Then you just let your forearm rest against the edge of the guitar. You can try resting the indent over your left leg, with the back end of the guitar resting against your right leg. You'll need to raise your left leg up with a big book or a small stool. The same principles apply here. Keep the guitar balanced so you don't have to muscle it around with your arms. And again, you just let your forearm rest against the edge of your guitar, ready to play. There's a couple different ways to hold your guitar. There's a couple different ways to hold your guitar while you're sitting down. We'll show you how it works for a right-handed player, so if you're playing lefty, you'll need to reverse it. Let the indent on the lower side of the guitar Let's start with the most basic part of picking technique, how to hold your pick. Curl the fingers of your picking hand into a loose fist and rest the pick right on the last knuckle of your index finger. Then just let your thumb rest on top of the pick. You don't have to squeeze too hard. You want the pick to be able to pivot a bit between the fingers as it picks the strings. There are two huge things to keep in mind when it comes to picking notes on the guitar. Number one is no tension. You play with tension, you'll get tired faster, you'll make more mistakes, and if you do it long enough, you can do real damage to yourself. So keep it relaxed. If you feel yourself tensing up, take a break, shake it out, and start over. Number two is what we call economy of motion. That just means you don't do any more than you have to. Even the thickest guitar strings are only a fraction of an inch thick, so you just need a very tiny motion to get your pick from one side of the string to the other. No need to overdo it. Let's start with a basic downstroke. That just means you pick down through the string. Start with the pick above the string you want to pick. It can rest on the string until you're actually ready to play it. Now, push the pick right through it. The pick can then rest on the next string down. Now, when you learn upstrokes too, you'll be able to play twice as many notes with the same motion. An upstroke is exactly what it sounds like. You play the string by pulling the pick up through it. All the motion happens in the wrist. It's just a tiny rotation, not a huge movement. And remember, when you're playing electric guitar, you don't have to pick it hard to make it loud. That's the amp's job. Now, when it comes to picking, one of the best things you can learn starting out is alternate picking. That just means you're going to pick down, up, down, up, down, up all the time. The key is that you always go down on down beats and up on up beats. Even if you leave a note out, your hand still keeps going down and up, just as if you had played a note there anyway. You'd also keep this going if you did a hammer-on or pull-off or something like that. You don't pick the string on the hammer-on, but your picking hand still goes up on that note, just as if you had played it, so when it's time to play a downstroke, you're ready to go. This is how you get to where you can play those fast passages with lots of notes. It's not the only approach to picking out there, but it's definitely the best place to start, and a good habit to pick up early on. When we talk about shifting, we just mean moving your hand up and down the neck to different positions. But before we get to that, let's take a quick sec and get to know your guitar a little better. Most guitars use dots or some other kind of inlay to mark certain frets. They're usually marked on both the fretboard and the upper side of the neck. The first dot is usually on the 3rd fret. Go ahead and find that on your guitar. Let's just play the 3rd fret on the low E string, the thickest string, highlighted in red. Let's just try that. Sweet! There will probably also be dots or inlays on the 5th, 7th, and 9th frets. Let's find those. That sounded like the A string. This note is on the low E string. Nicely done. Awesome. That was good. The next one up is the 12th fret, usually marked with a double dot. The 12th fret is special because notes 12 frets apart are what we call an octave higher. That means it's the same note, just at a higher pitch. Same thing with the 3rd and 15th frets. 12 frets apart, so it's another octave. Notice the dot pattern above the 12th fret just repeats the pattern from the lower frets. The dots above the 12th fret are the 15th, 17th, 19th, and 21st. Don't worry, as you play more, these fret numbers will become second nature, and you'll be able to quickly tell which upper dots are an octave higher than the lower ones. Try it at your own pace. Sweet. Perfect. Nice. Now here's a riff that will take some shifting to play. Here's that riff again, but let's just listen to it. You can play after that. Okay, try playing it now. Awesome! Here's another one with a little more shifting to it. Listen to this riff one more time before you play it. Now your turn. Let's try that again. Nicely done. You're ready to apply this to a practice track now. Here goes. Okay, let's talk about sustains. You play a sustain just like any other note, but instead of cutting it off, let it ring out. Let's try that. Be sure you're on the right fret. Yeah, that was good. Here's a riff with that sustain in it. Listen to this riff one more time before you play it. Now your turn. Sweet! You're ready for the practice track now. Here goes. Decent performance. Right, time for some slides. Slides are pretty straightforward. Just play a note like usual, then keep your finger pressed down and slide up to the next note. Try it at your own pace. You're sliding too far. Stop once you get to the 5th fret. Be sure you're on the right fret. You're not quite sliding far enough. This goes all the way up to the 5th fret. You've got that one down. Now let's try sliding down the neck. We'll use a different finger this time. This is pretty much the same thing we just did, but in reverse. Let's just try that. Right on, nice. All right, let's use that slide to play a riff. Listen to this riff one more time before you play it. Now your turn. Let's try that again. Amazing. Now, let's play another riff that has two slides, one going up and one going down. Here's the riff again. Listen to it, then play it. Okay, you play now. Awesome! Okay, now let's put it all together in a song. Here goes. Good work. All right. You're ready for the practice track now. Here goes. Decent performance. masterful performance. Session mode. Welcome to session mode. Here you'll get to make music with your very own band. Choose a ready-made band, or make your own. The band reacts to how you play. Just start playing, and the band will listen to you and... Now, let's get started by adding your drummer. When you start playing, so will he. If you stop, he stops. The louder you play, the more intensely he plays. You can track how intense your drummer is playing with the intensity meter at the top of the screen. First, go ahead and equip a drummer. Then make some noise to get your drummer started. See if you can get the intensity meter into the highlighted zone.